Let's talk about bass and tenor drum tone and tuning. Tone is the quality of the sound. Some of the things that influence tone are stick choice and head choice. Tuning is getting our drum to produce a specific note or pitch. We'll talk about how to do that shortly. Let's begin with tone. Nowadays, we've got a great selection of heads we can choose from. This is an Aquarian articulator, or we've got something called the Remo Power Max. The reason I like both of these brands of heads are because they've got something that looks like this on the back. We call this a muffle ring, and it's built right into the head. This muffle ring knocks out all the extraneous overtones so that when we produce a specific note or pitch on our drum, it's as clean as possible. I'm going to recommend that you use a pre-dampened or head with a muffle ring on both top and bottom heads, except on those smaller drums, but we'll talk about that shortly. Now I'm going to replace this coated ambassador head with the Remo Power Max head so that I have a head that has pre-muffling or pre-dampening within it. I'm now going to tension each of these lugs to make them finger tight so that I can later use my drum key to tighten them all the same. Now that I've got all of the lugs on the top head finger tight, I'm going to do the same on the bottom and replace the bottom textured ambassador with a Power Max as well. I use Power Max on top and bottom on all drums 16-inch and bigger. For 15-inch and 14-inch drums, I like a Power Max on top with a clear ambassador on the bottom. It just opens up the drum a little bit. I'm now going to make all of these tension points finger tight. I'm now going to give a helping hand with my drum key to get down all of the tension rods that I wasn't able to use with my finger. Let's now do the exact same thing on the top. Now that I've got all the zones relatively tensioned down using my finger and with the help of my key, I'm going to use my drum dial to make sure that the deflection is the same in every zone so that I can get the same pitch or tension in every zone. Let's give that a shot now. I'm going to stick it approximately 1 inch or 1.5 inches. It doesn't really matter as long as it's the same all the way around. We're going to put the weight an even distance from each tension rod. And now we're just going to make sure that they're all at the exact same tension. With a new head, I'm going to go from side to side just to ensure that it's evening itself down in a consistent fashion. but it doesn't really matter later on. Let's now take the key and make sure that every zone is at the exact same number. I'm going to choose 75. It doesn't mean a thing. All it means is that they're all the same. Let's now use the drum dial on the bottom head as well. Remember, we don't need to do this on a Premier Professional Series drum. Let's now go back around the top head and the bottom head and bring the pitch up again. Let's bring it up to about 85 this time. We don't need to go diagonally across every zone. We're now just going to go around evenly. I'm going to go around a second time just to make sure. Let's go bring the bottom head up to the same number again. Let's now go around the drum one more time just to be sure. As the head settles in, you'll find that these tension points actually either go up or down relative to how the fibers in the head settle out. I always recommend going around 2 or 3 times, especially with a new head. Now that we've used the drum dial on both top and bottom heads, in other words, all the tension points are at the exact same tension, our drum is going to produce an identifiable pitch or note to the human ear or to your pipe major in the band. It also means that any tuner can recognize what note or pitch your drum's producing. When I hit the drum, it's going to produce a pitch or note, assuming all of these tension points are at the exact same tension. The next question is, what actual note is my drum producing? Well, any Korg tuner will recognize the pitch of that drum relative to a piano or a trumpet. What's interesting though is that the bagpipe scale is not even tempered, or the intervals in between each of the notes is not the exact same. We're going to need a different tool to tune our drum to a bagpipe. The TiTune app, available on the Apple App Store, allows you to tune your drum specifically to every note on the bagpipe. I'm going to choose E. But in order to do so, I'm going to find out what pitch my pipe major or my pipe band's playing at. All I need is for my pipe major, my reference bagpipe, to play low A, click Learn, and it'll determine exactly what pitch the band's playing at. I'm going to choose 480 for now. And I'm going to tune my drum to E on the bagpipe at 480. In a very loud environment, I'm going to recommend turning the sensitivity up to high, just to knock out some of the extra sounds in the background. Let's tune our drum now. At 480, our reference pitch, or hertz, is 90. Let's see where our current drum falls. We're at 93.2. We're a little bit sharp. This means that we don't have to get the drum dial out again. In order to get to 90, or to get that lined up right in the center of our tuner, we need to equally decrease the tension in each zone. Let's try that now. I'm just going to give each zone the slightest turn. I'm not done yet. I now need to do the bottom head as well. Again, on a Premier Professional series, I don't need to do this. All right, let's see where our drum falls now. The number on the tuner turned yellow, so I'm right within the range. I'm at 90.4. Chances are, as I play my drum, it'll go down a little bit. That's it. So the key to tuning a pipe band bass or tenor drum is A, making sure that you have decent heads that are going to knock out some of the extraneous overtones that get in the way of the note you're trying to produce. I recommend a pre-muffled head, like an Aquarian articulator or a Remo Power Max. Both are pre-muffled or pre-dampened, which means that they're plug and play. We put them on and our drum just sounds good. We then need to make sure that we use a drum dial to get every tension point at the same tension, or to make it deflect the same in each point. Once each zone is at the exact same tension on both top and bottom heads, our drum is in tune with itself, which means it's going to produce a recognizable note that the human ear or tuner can recognize. I tune the 16-inch Pearl to E on the bagpipe. It'll harmonize very nicely with the drones, but there are a ton of options there. Depending on the size of drum, you're going to have a range of notes you can choose in which to enhance or harmonize with the bagpipe or specific notes in the melody. A 15 or 14-inch drum sounds great between an F and a high A on the bagpipe. A 16-inch tenor drum sounds great between a D and a G on the bagpipe. An 18-inch drum sounds great below a C all the way up to an E on the bagpipe. If you want to get below C or bagpipe C, which is actually a C sharp, you're going to want to go to a 20-inch tenor drum. And obviously, we're going to want to have our bass drum probably on low A. So bass drum on A, so 28-inch bass, A. 20-inch tenor drum on B or C. 18-inch tenor drum on C all the way up to E. A 16-inch tenor drum on probably between a D and a high G. And finally, a 15 or 14-inch drum sounds great between an F and a high A on the bagpipe. On that 14-inch drum, you may even get a clean high B if you're really going for it. That's pipe band bass and tenor drum tuning in a nutshell. Good luck.